My mother pressed her perfectly polished hand onto the will, then lifted her eyes to mine. You will not receive a single cent, Arya. Her voice didn't shake. Mine didn't either. I smiled, slow, deliberate.
Fine.
Then don't expect a cent from me either. I placed my fork and knife down gently, almost politely, before standing up. The chair's scrape across the marble floor sounded like a warning. That was the moment the foundation of our family shifted. Quietly. Fatally. My name is Arya Viskova, 27, the daughter my mother never quite managed to mold. She always preferred my brother, Leon, her pride, her investment, her proof of success.
Me?
I was tolerated, disciplined, reshaped until I learned to stop breaking. That night's argument wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. My mother, Helena, was a master of cold warfare. Every smile had a blade behind it. But even she didn't know the storm she had just invited. Because 3 weeks later, the nightmare began. It arrived softly, wrapped in a cream-colored envelope, sealed with my mother's wax insignia. Inside it was a single sheet of paper. One sentence. A threat so calculated that for the first time in years, I felt fear. I didn't open the envelope right away. It sat on my kitchen counter, staring at me like a quiet bomb. My mother never wrote anything by hand unless she wanted it to sting more. To understand why that envelope chilled me, you need to understand Helena Veskova. My mother built her reputation on 3 pillars: power, appearances, and obedience. Anyone who threatened those pillars, family or not, was handled like a public relations crisis. And I, unfortunately, was her longest-running project. For years, she tried to mold me into her mirror. Elegant, controlled, silent. But I wasn't silent, and she never forgave that. When my father died, things worsened. Helena became ruthless. She funneled everything, business, assets, inheritance, toward my brother Leon, grooming him as her successor. I became the daughter, who was lucky to be included at all. The dinner where she disowned me wasn't spontaneous. It was a culmination, tiny cuts over years. You're too emotional, Arya. You don't think logically. You make choices that embarrass this family. And the worst one, you are always difficult to love. I thought walking away from that table was freedom. But when Leon started avoiding my calls, when my bank notifications showed unexpected freezes, when the envelope arrived, I realized my mother wasn't done with me. Not even close. I finally opened the envelope on a rainy Thursday morning. The paper inside was thick, expensive, my mother's favorite kind. But the sentence written in her sharp handwriting was simple. You left the table too early. Consequences follow. My stomach tightened. Helena never threatened without infrastructure behind it. Within days, the cracks appeared. First, my landlord knocked on my door. Arya, your rent payment bounced. Impossible. I had savings, carefully managed, separated from anything my family controlled. Except now, those savings were inaccessible. Frozen. Every attempt to contact the bank led me to the same cryptic message. Hold initiated by an authorized party. I knew exactly who that party was. When I confronted Leon, he wouldn't even meet my eyes. Arya, don't make this worse, he muttered, guilt flickering before his expression hardened. Mom said you were becoming hostile. She's just protecting the family assets. Protecting. That word always meant destruction when Helena used it. Then came the message from my employer, a sudden, unexplained restructuring. My position, eliminated. My projects, reassigned overnight. Someone had whispered in the right ears. Someone wanted me cornered, desperate, dependent. But my mother forgot one thing. Cornered doesn't mean defeated. Cornered means calculating. And that was the moment I realized. Helena was preparing to erase me completely. The breaking point arrived on a Sunday afternoon, quiet, sunny, deceptively peaceful. I received a formal letter from the Veskova Family Trust, hand-delivered by a courier who looked almost apologetic. My mother's seal glared up at me like a blood-red smirk. Inside was the betrayal that made my knees weak. Helena had legally removed me from the family registry. Not just the will, not just the business, the family. My name erased. My inheritance revoked. My identity severed. There was more. Attached was a glossy invitation, gold foil, embossed edges. My mother's annual charity gala. The biggest event of the year. Except this year, it featured a special announcement, introducing the Veskova legacy heir, Leon Veskova and his fiancée. I froze. The fiancée was my former best friend, Mira. The woman who once cried in my arms, who I fed, sheltered, defended. She hadn't even told me she was seeing him. And then the final line punched through me. Arya is not welcome at this event. Not welcome in my own family's house. Not welcome in the world my father built. Not welcome anywhere my mother held power. The humiliation was total. Public. Intentional. That was the night I stopped crying and started planning. I didn't sleep the night the gala invitation arrived. I sat on my living room floor, the embossed card beside me like a shard of glass pressed into my chest. Being erased hurt. Being humiliated hurt more. But being replaced by my own best friend was a wound that felt surgical. My mother didn't lash out impulsively. She designed pain with precision. By sunrise, the ache inside me had cooled into something sharper. I replayed everything. The frozen accounts. The job loss. Leon's cowardice. Myra's betrayal. My mother's final strike. Helena wanted me unstable. Panicked. Dependent enough to crawl back. What she didn't realize was that her entire empire relied on a single assumption. That no one would ever question her perfection. And that was a weakness. Because growing up under Helena Veskova taught me one thing she never intended. I knew exactly how her world worked. Where her secrets were buried. Who she paid, who she scared, who she manipulated. I knew the cracks in the image she guarded like a religion. She wanted a war? I would give her a masterpiece. My revenge plan came together quietly, cleanly, like a blueprint unfolding. Step 1. Get inside the gala. Step 2. Take back my father's legacy. Step 3. Expose the truth. In front of everyone who worshipped her. The night of the gala, the Veskova estate glowed like a palace, gold lights, glass walls, a waterfall of glittering guests arriving in black cars. My mother adored spectacle. Perfect. So did I tonight. I didn't enter through the front. I entered through the vendor access corridor, because 3 days earlier, I had walked into the event planner's office with a flash drive and a smile sharp enough to slice marble. "You're Helena's daughter?" she whispered. "Not tonight," I replied. A discreet payment and a carefully timed leak of Helena's past charitable misallocations convinced the planner to do exactly what I needed. Add my name to the staff list. No questions. I wore a server's uniform, hair pinned tight, face half hidden. No one looked at staff, not in my mother's world. Invisible was exactly what I needed to be. Inside the ballroom, Helena stood at the podium, radiating power. Leon and Mira stood beside her, fingers intertwined like a glossy magazine spread. Cameras clicked. Applause thundered. "Tonight," Helena announced, "we celebrate legacy." "Not yet, Mother." I slipped behind the AV booth and plugged in my flash drive. The technician glanced at me. "Are these the final presentation files?" "Yes," I murmured. Helena approved them herself. He nodded. The screen above the stage flickered. My moment was seconds away. The truth was about to detonate. The ballroom lights dimmed. Conversations softened into a curious hush. Everyone turned toward the massive LED screen as it flickered, once, twice, then stabilized. My mother's smile froze. Because instead of her carefully curated legacy montage, the screen displayed a folder titled, "The Real Helena Veskova." A murmur rippled through the room. Cameras lifted. Guests leaned forward. The first video rolled, financial documents, voice notes, and emails revealing years of reallocated charity funds, redirected investments, and off-record asset transfers. Not illegal, but deeply unethical. Reputation ending. Gasps. Whispers. A senator's wife covered her mouth. A business partner stepped back from Helena like she was contagious. Helena's gaze swept the room, wild for the first time in my life. Turn it off, she barked at the AV booth. Too late. The second file opened. Mira, my former best friend, accepting money from Helena 2 years ago to distance herself from me. Then another clip. Helena coaching her on how to push Leon toward marriage to secure the perfect air optics. Myra's face drained of color. Leon staggered back, as if hit. You paid her, he whispered. Helena grabbed his arm. Leon, listen. But he yanked away, shaking, betrayal spreading across his face. And then someone in the audience asked the question that shattered everything. Where is Arya? The room went silent. Helena's lips parted, panic blooming. I stepped out from behind the curtain. Right here. Every head in the ballroom turned toward me. I stepped into the center of the stage lights, no longer a ghost in a server's uniform, but a woman reclaiming her place. Helena inhaled sharply. You weren't invited. I noticed, I said calmly. But since you invited the truth, I thought I'd join it. A ripple of uneasy laughter spread through the room. Mira stumbled forward. Arya, I didn't know she. Save it, I said. You sold me out long before tonight. Leon looked at me with something breaking behind his eyes. Arya, why didn't you tell me she froze your accounts? I tilted my head. Why didn't you ask? Silence. And then the final twist unfolded. Because the last file on the screen wasn't about Helena. It was about my father. A video message, recorded weeks before his death. He sat in his study, tired but lucid. If Helena is watching this, it means she has attempted to cut Arya out. So let this be clear. My personal assets, my private accounts, and my estate in Ravens belong to my daughter, Arya Veskova. No one, not even Helena, has the right to take that from her. The room erupted. Reporters surged. Investors backed away from Helena like she was radioactive. My mother looked at me, broken, defeated, exposed. I warned you, I whispered. Don't expect a cent from me. As I walked out of the gala, cameras flashing behind me, one thing became certain. I didn't just take back my legacy. I ended hers.